Hi everyone. To solve many problems in physics, we need mathematical tools. One of the mathematical tool that is very important in physics is called calculus. In calculus, we have two parts. One is called differentiation, which is similar to the process of dividing, and the other part is called integration, which is similar to the process of multiplying. In today's video, we will discuss about what is differentiation and why do we need differentiation in physics. Let us look at this graph where the y-axis represents the number of runs scored by a team and the x-axis represents the number of overs. Now suppose somebody is asking us what is the run rate according to the graph shown in this diagram. So run rate means what? Whenever we say rate, it represents how fast something changes, isn't it? So when I say what is run rate, it means how fast runs are changing with respect to overs. So run rate can be calculated by just calculating how many runs are scored per over, right? So in this graph, if you observe, let me take this point and this point. So between these 2 points, you can see 2 overs are bold. And how many runs are scored from here to here? You can see y-axis represents the runs, remember. So from here to here, you can see 10 runs are scored. So 10 runs are scored in 2 overs. So the run rate would be 5 runs per over, right? Now what if we choose not these 2 points but some other points? What if I choose this point and this point? Let's see. So from here to here, if you observe carefully, the number of overs has increased from 4 to 8. Therefore, how many overs are bold from 4 to 8? Obviously 4 overs are bold, right? And from here to here, how many runs are scored? From 20, it goes up to 40. So how many runs are scored? 40 minus 20, which would be 20 runs, isn't it? So if I choose this point and this point to calculate the run rate, what would I get? So the run rate would be from here to here. Yes, if you observe, the runs scored are 20 and the number of overs bowled are 4 to 8, 4. 20 by 4 would give you again 5 runs per over, right? In other words, if the graph of runs versus overs looks like this, meaning if it is a straight line, then you can see the run rate would be constant, right? 5 runs per over, 5 runs per over. It doesn't matter whether you choose this 2 point or this 2 point or any other 2 points you can choose, right? So in cases where your graph is a straight line, your run rate or the rate at which runs are scored, that would be constant if the graph is a straight line, isn't it? Now let me create a general formula for the rate at which runs are scored. So let me just rub these numbers, and if I want to create a general formula, let me take any 2 points, right? And the x coordinate and y coordinate of those 2 points can be given by such a representation, isn't it, right? So if there is a point here, then you drop a perpendicular on the x-axis, you drop a perpendicular on the y-axis. This distance represents the x coordinate and this distance represents the y coordinate. So that way, if I choose this point and this point and I call it, let's say x1 and y1, sorry, x1 and x2, which are the x coordinates of the 2 points, and y1 and y2 as the y coordinate, then how would I write run rate? y2 minus y1 would represent how many runs I scored when from here to here. x2 minus x1, this many overs were bowled, how many runs I scored? y2 minus y1. So this would represent a general formula for run rate if y represents runs and x represents overs. In physics, whenever we see change in a quantity y1 to y2, we write this in physics as delta y. So the letter delta is a Greek letter which we use in physics to represent change in. So if I write delta y, it means the change in the y coordinate. Final value, which is y2, initial minus initial value, which is y1. Similarly, final x2 minus initial x1 would be written as delta x. So the run rate in this graph can be given by the ratio delta y by delta x, right? So we just saw that run rate represents the rate at which runs change when overs change, isn't it? And how do we calculate? We calculate the change in the number of runs and divide it by the change in the number of overs, delta y by delta x, where y represents runs and x represents overs. Now, run rate is not so much discussed in physics, right? So in physics, you will have problems like there is a car and the car is moving, and this picture shows the position of the car, which I am writing as x with respect to some origin. So this x represents how far the car is from the origin, and this t represents the time. So basically I am trying to show you that x is the position of the car at time t. Now if the car is moving, this position will change, isn't it? Now if the car is moving, you would want to know the rate. Again, say rate. So you would like to know the rate at which x changes when time changes. So what we are interested now? Rate at which x changes, where x represents the position when time changes. When time changes. In short, let us write it as rate of change. In short, I will call it ROC. So how would I calculate the rate of change of position with respect to time? Already we have seen in the case of run rate, right? So we will see the graph of how the position of the car changes, and let's assume the graph looks like this, and then I hope you can tell me quickly that if you take any 2 points and divide the difference in y coordinate, but remember here y coordinate represents position. So difference in y coordinate would be x2 minus x1 divided by difference in x coordinate, and now x coordinate is, remember, time, so it would be t2 minus t1. So if I take any 2 points, let me choose this point and this point, then what would be your x2 minus x1? So this is your x coordinate, remember, so 15 minus 10, right? And what would be t2 minus t1? Remember, this is t, so t2 minus t1 would be 3 minus 2. That would be 5 by 1, so 5 meter per second. When I write 5 meter per second, I hope you understood that x is measured in meters, the distance x is measured in meters, and time t is measured in seconds. That's why I wrote 5 meter per second. Now for this graph, does it matter which 2 points I choose in order to calculate the rate of change? No, it doesn't matter. If you choose these 2 points, let's say, then you can see 5 meters are covered in 1 second, isn't it? So if you calculate the rate of change, again it will be 5 meter per second. What if I choose this point and this point? Then you can see from here to here you have covered 15 meters, right? From here to here 15 meters in what time? From here to here 3 seconds. So if you calculate the rate of change, again you will see you will get 5 meter per second. So if the graph is a straight line, then you know that the rate of change will be constant no matter which 2 points you choose. But what if the graph is like this? What if the position of the car changes with time according to this graph? Now if I ask you, what is the rate of change of distance with respect to time, which is also called speed, then how would you calculate that? So now if I choose these 2 points, you would get the rate of change as, you can see, 5 meters are covered in 0 to 2 seconds. So 5 meters are covered in 2 seconds, isn't it? So your rate of change would be 2.5 meter per second if you choose 0 to 2 seconds. So this is between 0 to 2 seconds. But what if I want to know the rate of change in this interval, 2 to 3 seconds? So from 2 to 3 seconds, if I calculate the rate of change, let's see what I will get. So from here to here, you can see the distance covered is from 5 to 15. So 5 to 15 would be how much distance covered? Obviously 10 meters, isn't it? Right? This is 15, this is 5. So if you subtract, the distance covered would be 10 meters. And how much time it took? Well, from 2 to 3, it went from 5 meter to 15 meter according to the graph. So the time taken is from 2 to 3, isn't it? So it would be 1 second, because 2 to 3 means time taken is 1 second, and that would be 10 meter per second. This is between 2 to 3 seconds, right? What if I want to know in this interval? So in this interval, if I take between 3 to 6, then you can see your distance covered between this point and this point is from 15 to 20. It will cover a distance of 20 minus 15, which is obviously 5 meters, and the time taken would be from 3 to 6. So 6 minus 3 seconds would be, which would be 3 seconds. So that would be 1.3 ones are 3, 2 carry, 3 6 are 18, so 1.67 meter per second. So if you observe carefully, the rate of change of the distance with time is no longer constant. So therefore, in such condition, when such graphs are given, if I want to calculate the rate of change, you cannot simply say what is the rate of change. You have to ask what is the rate of change in this interval, what is the rate of change in this interval, what is the rate of change in this interval. Then I will be able to answer. Not like previous one. In previous one, it doesn't matter in which interval you ask, because the graph was a straight line with same angle at every point. But here you can see the angle made by the graph is changing, isn't it? It's making small angle, then large angle, then again little bit small angle, and therefore you can see the rate of change is changing, right? Let's quickly revise what we did up to now. The first graph which we discussed was a straight line, and we found that the rate of change in this case was a constant. It came out 5 meter per second, and it doesn't matter which interval we choose, it always came out same. And that happens because since the graph is a straight line, at every point it makes same angle with the time axis, right? It makes the same angle. So the angle made by the graph with the time axis always remains constant, and that's why the rate of change also remains constant. But if you come to the second graph, there during this interval the rate of change was something, and during this interval the rate of change was something else. It was not constant. However, for this interval the rate of change was constant, but from interval to interval, as you went, the rate of change changed, and that is because you can see the angle made by the graph keeps on changing, right? So this angle made by the graph keeps on changing. Now let's come to a situation where the distance covered by the car in time t is given according to this graph. Now I have given you a curved graph. There is no straight part anywhere, unlike this graph. Here also, if you remember, the angle changes, but it was a straight line. But now if you observe carefully, the angle changes continuously. So from time to time, from point to point, the angle is going to change, and therefore now when I ask what is the rate of change, I have to mention at which instant, because the rate of change is changing continuously. Like when you ask my name, you just ask, sir, what is your name, right? You just ask what is your name. You don't say, sir, what is your name yesterday, or what is your name today, because my name is constant. So if the rate of change is constant, just like in this graph, you will only ask what is the rate of change. But here the rate of change keeps on changing continuously. So if my name kept changing daily, you would have to mention the day also. If you want to know my name, you have to say, sir, what was your name 1 year before, like that. So you have to mention the instant also. So similarly, for a curved graph like this, the rate of change will change continuously, and therefore you need to ask rate of change at a particular instant or particular time, and that is also called instantaneous rate of change. So let's say I want to calculate the instantaneous rate of change at this time t1. So at time t1 I want to calculate instantaneous rate of change. How am I going to do that? Well, I am going to take 2 points and divide like before x2 minus x1, which is the distance covered from this point to that point, and the time taken, which is t2 minus t1. From this point to this point, time taken is t2 minus t1, right? Now can I say this is the rate of change at this point t1? Obviously no, because this graph is not a straight line. If it was a straight line, then yes, we could call this as the rate of change, as we have seen in the first example. But here the graph, if you see carefully, is a curved line, and therefore the rate of change keeps changing every time, and we cannot simply say this ratio is the rate of change at this instant. But what we can say is this ratio is nothing but average rate of change between which moments, t1 and t2. But I want to know instantaneous rate of change, not average rate of change. How am I going to do that? Let's see. Before I continue further and find the instantaneous rate of change, please remember that in the first example, when the graph was a straight line, the rate of change was constant. Please remember that. Now, since I wanted rate of change at one particular moment, t1, what I will do now is bring this second point closer to the first point, as I have done in this graph. Now if you observe that this part between these 2 points is still not 100% straight line, it is still curved, but compared to the part between these 2 points, the part between these 2 points is more straight, remember that. So what would be the rate of change in this interval? You divide the change in the distance covered by the change in the time taken, right? So that would be your rate of change, but still it is not perfectly straight, remember. So this is still average rate of change. But what if I bring this point very close to this point? If I bring it very close, then the part between these 2 points will be obviously a straight line, isn't it? If you take a circle and you take 2 points which are quite far, then obviously this is not a straight line. This is not a straight line, isn't it? But if I take 2 points very close to each other, very close, then the part between those 2 points can be considered, this part can be considered as a straight line. So therefore, if I bring this point very close to this point and then I calculate the average rate of change, then in this interval I can assume this ratio will be constant because it is a straight line, remember, right? And thus this can be considered as instantaneous rate of change at this instant because it is constant. So at this instant or at this instant it will be same. So please remember that if you want to calculate instantaneous rate of change at a particular time t1, then your second time t2 should be very close to t1, and that is how we calculate instantaneous rate of change. How am I going to write the instantaneous rate of change at particular time t1? So the idea is take another point whose coordinates are x2 and t2 and then repeat the same thing. Divide the distance covered x2 minus x1 by the time taken t2 minus t1, but as we have seen, this point should be very close to this point, isn't it? And for that, what we will write here is we will write limit t2 should be very close to t1. So this arrow means this t2 should be very close to t1, then only this part can be taken like a straight line, then only this ratio will be constant in that small interval, right? And we write this in shortcut limit this x2 minus x1 we write as delta x, t2 minus t1 we write as delta t. And what will happen to delta t when t2 becomes close to t1? So if t2 becomes close to t1, as you can see here, so if t2 becomes close to t1, this difference will become close to obviously 0, isn't it? So let's say this is 2 seconds, this is 2.5. What is the difference? 0.5, right? Next time let's say this becomes closer to 2.1, then the difference is becoming 0.1. So when t2 becomes closer to t1, this difference will become closer to 0. So delta t tends to 0. Now this in mathematics we write as dx by dt. So dx by dt simply means limit of delta x by delta t when delta t becomes very small, or you can say when delta t tends to 0. So this arrow would mean tends to 0. So again please remember, this is simply average rate of change, right? We have seen this is nothing but this, and this alone means average rate of change. But when this t2 becomes very close to t1, when this point comes very close to this point, the part between the points becomes like a straight line, and therefore that ratio can be considered as instantaneous rate of change at this instant. And mathematically, since this is quite boring to write, it has a lot of things, we try to make it compact, right? In maths we always try to find ways of writing big things into compact form. For example, if you have 5 zeros, or let's say 1 2 3 4 5 6 zeros in front of 1, then writing this takes time. But if you write this way, it happens faster, isn't it? So this is just a way of writing this number. Similarly, you should remember that this is just a way of writing this concept. And what this concept gives you? Instantaneous rate of change. And that is what we call differentiation of x with respect to t. After learning so many things, if somebody will ask you what is actually differentiation and why do we need differentiation, then the answer you must be giving is, in nature we see there are changes, and if something changes, it is because something else has changed, isn't it? If you are happy, it's because somebody gave you a good news and therefore you are happy. So for every effect there is a cause. In mathematics we could write it as y, which is your effect, is a function of x, where x is the cause, right? So in school days, when you apply battery to a resistor, current flows, isn't it? So the current in a wire is a function of voltage, right? Similarly, when a person is running, his distance changes with time. So his distance from origin is function of time. And in cricket, the runs change with overs, right? So now when your y changes with x, sometimes you will be interested to know at what rate y is changing, at what rate, how fast y is changing. And whenever you want to know the rate at which y changes with x, or distance changes with time, or current changes with voltage. So whenever you want to know the rate at which y changes with x, and that is the time when you need differentiation. However, if the change is such that the graph of y versus x is a straight line, then to study the rate of change you really don't need differentiation. And that is because if the graph is a straight line, you can take any 2 points and you will find that the ratio of the change in y, which represents this change delta y, by the change in x delta x. So this ratio of delta y by delta x remains constant if the graph is a straight line. So if your rate of change is constant, then you really don't need differentiation. However, there are many cases in which the relation of y versus x, the relation between y and x, may not be represented by a straight line but by something like this. And if that happens, then you can clearly see that if you take two different points at different positions, your rate of change will not be constant, So now, since the rate of change is changing from point to point, now you have to ask rate of change at a specific point, isn't it? If your name is constant, then it's okay. We can ask you what is your name. But if your name changes from day to day, then I have to ask you what is your name at that particular day, right? So similarly, if your rate changes from point to point, which happens if the graph is curved, then you need to ask what is rate of change at a given point. Which means you have to now convert these 2 points into 1 point. And how do you do that? You bring the second point as close as possible to the first point and then calculate the ratio. And that we write in mathematics as delta y by delta x, but we put a condition, and the condition is we take the limit of this ratio till delta x becomes very small. And that is what we call differentiation of y with respect to x. So when do you need differentiation? Simple. You need differentiation when the rate itself changes. Correct? So to give an example of differentiation, dy by dx, as we have discussed, is rate of change of y with respect to x at a specific point, remember. So whenever I write dy by dx, it always represents instantaneous rate of change. Similarly, if I replace y by x, where x is position, and I replace x by t, where t is time, then this dx by dt will be called the rate of change of position x with respect to time t. And in short, we call this quantity in physics velocity, right? So similarly, what will I call dv by dt? So now I am replacing y by v and x by t. So this will be called rate of change of velocity with respect to t. And this is what we call in the physics acceleration. What about dp by dt? So this would be called the rate of change of p, which is momentum, with respect to time t. And in physics we call it force. So this is instantaneous velocity, instantaneous acceleration, and instantaneous force.